You know, we're always told to specialize, to pick one thing and get really, really good at it. But what if that's not the whole story? Today, we're talking about a different path, the path of the polymath. It's an idea that might sound a little old-fashioned, but it could be the real key to unlocking our true potential.
So let me ask you this. What do Leonardo da Vinci and Benjamin Franklin have in common? I mean, one's this incredible artist who's also dreaming up flying machines, and the other is a founding father, a scientist, and a diplomat. The connection? They were both absolute masters in a whole bunch of different fields that on the surface seemed totally unrelated. These guys weren't just tinkering around. They were genuine giants in everything they set their minds to. And that, right there, is the essence of a polymath.
Okay, so what exactly is a polymath? Let's get into it.
All right, here's the official definition. It's someone whose knowledge covers a ton of different subjects. But, and this is the really important part, it's not just about being a walking encyclopedia. It's about being able to pull from all those different areas to solve real-world problems. A polymath sees the connections, you know? They connect the dots between, say, art and engineering, in a way that someone who only knows engineering just can't.
And the word itself, it actually tells you a lot. It comes straight from Greek, poly, meaning many, and manthenein, which means to learn. So literally, to have learned much. It's all about this incredible, deep-seated curiosity and a drive to learn, not just about one thing, but about everything. So, to really get a handle on this, it helps to see what a polymath isn't. Think of it like this. You've got the specialist. They dig a super deep well, but it's really narrow. Then you've got the dilettante, who's more like a shallow pond, really wide but not deep at all. The polymath? They're the sweet spot. They manage to have both the breadth of the pond and the depth of the well. And the magic is that they can use all of it to see the world in a totally unique way.
But where did this idea even come from? I mean, it feels so different from our world today. Well, we've got to go back in time, back to an era where being a jack of all trades wasn't a bad thing. In fact, it was the ultimate goal. We're talking about the Renaissance. Yeah, this is the time that gave us the famous Renaissance man. And that term wasn't just a label, it was a whole philosophy. It was built on this incredible, optimistic belief that human beings have a limitless capacity for development. The whole idea was not to pick one lane and stay in it. No, it was about exploring and developing all your talents to the absolute fullest.
And check out this quote from Leon Battista Alberti. This guy was the real deal, an amazing architect, an artist, an author, a total Renaissance man. He said, "A man can do all things if he will." Just think about that. It perfectly sums up the spirit of the age. The only thing holding you back was your own willpower.
And you know what's really wild? This wasn't just an ideal for a handful of geniuses like Da Vinci, not at all. It was actually the expectation for the ideal courtier, you know, the high society, well-educated person of the time. You were expected to speak multiple languages, play an instrument, write poetry, the whole shebang. Being well-rounded wasn't just a nice little hobby. It was a social necessity. It was what it meant to be a truly complete human being. Okay, so if being a polymath was the ultimate goal back then, what happened? Why does that idea feel so foreign to us now? Well, this is where the story takes a turn. It all comes down to the rise of specialization.
And you can really see this shift happen over time. For literally centuries, being a generalist, a broad thinker, was the norm. But then, something started to change around the 17th century. It was like a snowball rolling downhill, picking up speed through the Industrial Revolution, and it landed us right where we are today, in this world of hyper-specialization.
So what was the trigger? What started that snowball rolling? Well, historian Peter Burke argues that it was basically an information explosion. Starting in the 17th century, the amount of new knowledge just blew up. All of a sudden, it became incredibly difficult, if not impossible, for one single person to try and master everything. There was just too much stuff to know.
And then the Industrial Revolution hit, and it just poured gasoline on the fire. Think about it. Factories and assembly lines didn't need well-rounded poets. They needed workers who could do one specific task over and over again really efficiently. That massive economic pressure created what author Waqas Ahmed calls the cult of specialization. And that cult is still with us. It shapes our schools, our universities, and our entire career paths.
But the story isn't over, not by a long shot. Because now, in our crazy, complex, interconnected world, some people are starting to argue that the polymath is making a comeback. That this mindset isn't just some dusty old relic, it's actually exactly what we need for the future.
So let me ask you a question.
Do you think that having a passion for the arts, like singing or painting or acting, could actually help you be more successful in the sciences? It might sound a little strange, but the answer is a huge, resounding yes. And the data on this is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing.
Get this. One major study found that Nobel Prize-winning scientists are 25 times more likely to sing, dance, or act than the average scientist. 25 times. That is not a coincidence. It's proof that creativity isn't a single, isolated thing. It thrives when you connect different worlds. Think about it. The arts teach you to see patterns, to think in metaphors, to be comfortable with things that aren't black and white. And those are the exact skills you need to make a huge scientific breakthrough.
So, this is what we call the polymath advantage, and it is very real. It's what sparks creativity, because you're connecting ideas that no one else thought to connect. It's how we're going to solve the biggest, messiest problems we face today, the ones that cross all sorts of different fields. Polymaths, as Peter Burke puts it, are the ones who mine the gap between all the specialized silos. And on top of all that, there's even evidence it can make you, smarter overall.
Which brings us to a really powerful idea. This isn't just about a few famous dead guys. This is about us. The potential to be a polymath isn't some rare gift. It's something that lies inside every single one of us. The real question is, how do we tap into it?
Yeah, modern thinkers like Waqas Ahmed are making a compelling case that our natural state is to be curious about many things. Specialization, he argues, is a system we built. It's not how we're wired. That desire to explore, to learn, to create across different domains, that's a core part of being human. So what can you actually do to nurture your own inner polymath? Well, first, actively look for the connections between your interests, even if they seem totally random. Second, treat your hobbies like they matter, because they do. They're like cross-training for your brain. Third, don't just be a thinker or a doer. Be both. Build things, experiment, get your hands dirty. And finally, and maybe most importantly, just pursue a huge diversity of experiences. Say yes to new things.
So I'm going to leave you with a final thought to chew on. We live in a world that is constantly asking you to pick a lane, to specialize, to narrow your focus. My question for you is, what amazing things might you discover if you have the courage to ignore that advice and explore, well, everything?